Hi, I'm Caitlin, and this is Book Chats. And today I'm going to talk about all of the books that I finished in July. So it's my July wrap-up. These are the books I want to say right off the bat that I completed in July, but some of them I may have started before July. So finished in July does not mean read completely within the month of July. I have really felt like I need to make my videos shorter lately, so you'll notice I posted several significantly less than 10-minute videos instead of barely less than 10-minute videos lately. And so in this particular month, I'm going to talk a little bit about the books that I read, but I'm largely going to leave commentary to Goodreads. So if you want to know more about a book that I read, you should go check out my review on Goodreads. I will link all of them in the doobly-doo, and I will save my longer discussion of the books for the ones that I really enjoyed at the end or that I thought were really important books or really good books. I also will say I am talking about these in the order of enjoyment of them. The one I'm talking about last is the one that I thought was the best book of the month. All right, the first book that I am talking about today is Modern Romance by Aziz Ansari. I listened to this on audio, which I do recommend audio over paper. I did look at it on like ebook after I listened to it on audio to like check out the graphs, and I just really enjoyed the audio experience, but I didn't enjoy the book overall as much as I expected to. I was a little disappointed in it, felt it was a little bit recycled and could be a little more critical. I also read The Fill-In Boyfriend by Casey West. I did enjoy this book a lot, and it surprised me with the depth that it went into in certain areas, or just the fact that it brought certain topics up. But it is totally fluff, and if you're not interested in total fluff, I would not recommend picking it up. I also read The Wrath and the Dawn this month, which is a really hyped debut novel that my book twin really enjoyed, and I call her my book twin because we have really similar taste in books, or the books that we have read that are the same we have similar taste in, and so I was like, I should totally read this. She said it was awesome. Unfortunately, I was disappointed, partly because I've been waiting for that amazing debut book this year, and this wasn't it, even though I thought it would be, but in general, I liked the book enough that I am going to continue with the series. I also read Popular, Vintage Wisdom for a Modern Geek by Maya Van Wagenen. I was really impressed by this book and really surprised. It is a book written by a high schooler about a social experiment she went through when she was in middle school still, and I was expecting it to either be clearly ghostwritten or to just be really fluff poppy or just not very well, but I thought it was both age appropriate, like it was something I expect a high schooler could have written, but like very good for a high schooler, and it just wasn't as constructed as I expected. I really enjoyed it and found a lot of things to relate to, even though I didn't relate to the main character's intense social shyness, because I am an extrovert and I'm not very socially shy. The next book I'll talk about, I actually have a hard copy of. What? I went to the library. I got a temporary library card for the place that I'm staying over the summer. It was amazing. Anyway, it's The Adoration of Jenna Fox by Mary E. Pearson. Yes, that Mary E. Pearson. I am going to say two things about this book. One, it surprised me by how much I enjoyed it, how deep it was, and how much it actually was designed not to be a thriller, but to talk about and question our world and how it's constructed and how our medical advances define or don't change the definition of what humans are or how we are as humans. I will also say that this is definitely a standalone, even though technically it is part of a trilogy. I kind of looked a little bit up about it, and it looks like the other two books were tacked on because people enjoyed this one or for some other reason. I don't know. I'm not going to read them myself because I'm not interested in the topic, so I just want to let you guys know I read this as a standalone and will not be continuing, even though I did enjoy it. And if you also are looking for a standalone, you can read this one as a standalone. The next book I'm going to talk about, I also have a hard copy of. What libraries? And that is World After by Susan E. I was really excited to see this at the library because I've been wanting to finish it since I finished Angel Fall in May. I enjoyed it just as much as I enjoyed the first book, and I'm really excited to get my hands on a copy of End of Days. The seventh book I'm going to talk about this month is Written and Read by Anne Bishop. I am going to talk about this a little bit longer. This was recommended to me by my friend Bridget, and I've heard about it from other people after that as well, but I want to especially thank Bridget for recommending it to me because I was not going to read this series, even though I'd heard a lot of really positive buzz, because I felt betrayed by Anne Bishop when I read the first book in the Black Jewels trilogy. People talk about the Black Jewels trilogy very positively and very have a lot of love for it, and so I just went in and I did not expect what was there. So I'm gonna give you a warning right away. Like, that book has some really disturbing things that happens in it that people do not tell you about them. So if you are thinking about reading the Black Schools trilogy, you need to read up on it, or like, you're welcome to talk to me. It was not what I expected. Anyway, but I picked up Written and Read thanks to Bridget for recommendation, like 2 years after she recommended it. And I really enjoyed it. I was super addicted. I actually felt like it reminded me a lot of the Alpha and Omega series by Patricia Briggs, I think her name is. She's the one who does the Mercy Thompson books, but like a better version. Like, it's not the same, but like some of the feelings and themes felt the same to me, but like more polished and more like a more interesting world building. And just like, I enjoy both of them, but I enjoy this one probably better. It's the first in a series. I'm super excited to get my hand on the next book, and I really, really, really hope that Anne Bishop doesn't betray me and my magical OTP I made up myself, because it's not really. Nothing really happens in the first book, but I have decided that I'm shipping them and they better happen. The next book I'm going to talk about, when I finished it, thought that it might be the best book that I read this month, until I read the best book that I read this month. And I finally found that debut book that I was waiting for, that really amazing standout, oh, it's so good, debut book. And I want to thank really quick Tara from Literally Tara for encouraging me to pick this book up and talking about it on her channel, because even though she and I have disparate tastes, she talked about it in a way that I was sure I wanted to pick it up, and I'm so glad I did. It is The Sacred Lies of Minnow Bly by Stephanie Oakes. This book is beautifully written. I was reading the acknowledgments. Stephanie acknowledged her MFA poetry class or cohort, and I was like, of course she got an MFA in poetry and or took MFA poetry classes, because the book was beautifully written. It's just very lyrically written, but not in an annoying way. So I actually had a conversation midway through reading this book with Jane from Yes, Miss Jane, because she had read a book that had kind of been a commentary on religion and had been very frustrated by it, because she and I are both religious people. And I was like, I'm really scared that the book I'm reading right now is going to be that. But the thing that I really appreciated it is it was definitely about religion and questioning beliefs. It was about belief more than religion. What do you believe? It definitely questioned things, but it also didn't tell you what to believe, which I really appreciated. And it had characters, like right when I thought that the author was pushing you towards one direction, she would bring a character who was pushing the main character toward that direction. And she would emphasize how all of these people are pushing you in different directions, but you really need to decide what you believe and like what you believe, and it has to be personal. And I just really I think that's a very difficult line to kind of stand on, and she did it very well and balanced, and I thought this was a really powerful book, and it was very well written, and I was very impressed. It was the best book that I had read this month until I picked up Missoula, Rape and the Justice System in a College Town by Jon Krakauer. Number 1, this book is really difficult. It goes into detail, and it should have a ton of trigger warnings. I don't usually give trigger warnings in my video reviews because I feel like you should read written reviews, and I don't know all the triggers to mention, and I do try to put trigger warnings in my written reviews, but I really feel like if you are someone who needs trigger warnings, you should read written reviews or get a recommendation from someone you know warns you appropriately. But this one clearly is about a topic that is very sensitive, and it is detailed about that topic. But Jon Krakauer is amazing. I have read Into Thin Air by him, and I have been interested in reading some of his other work, but I don't think I've read or completed any of it yet. But he constructs this book masterfully. He bookends it by saying, remember, Missoula is average. It is not an anomaly. It is not that place where those bad people are. It is the average American town on this issue. And I thought that was really powerful. And then he constructs a very careful case with real data and real stories and real people and real case reports. And it is such a powerful way to tell the story of basically rape culture and rape in the United States and how it is handled or not handled by colleges, by people, by society, by culture, and by the police and justice system. This book is really powerful and very well written, and I cannot recommend it enough, even as I caution you that it is a difficult book to read. You should not read it before bed like I did. That was a problem. You should not read it if you're going to have a problem with triggers that it brings up. But it was a really powerful story about rape and sexual assault in the United States. Ending on that note, I'm not going to talk about stats right now because I don't want to make this video any longer, but what I'm going to say is that I'm still behind in my overall Goodreads. I'm between 7 and 8 books behind this month, and I also am 4 books behind in my Pop Sugar Challenge and 1 book behind my Debut Author Challenge, so the theme of August is going to be catching up. All right, thanks for listening, and tell me what your favorite or the best book you felt you read in the month of July was down below. Bye!